Hi, this is Chris from needlepointers.com, and today I'd like to show you our new Bernina L450 Serger. So all the tutorials that I will be doing on this Bernina L450 will also apply to the L460 Serger, since that serger has the same features but it has a couple extra things that this one doesn't have. So we replaced an old Bernina serger that I had from the 1980s, mainly because of threading issues. I had issues getting the threads to go through the tension plates properly, and also with the threading of the lower loopers. Every time we needed to change the thread, I would need to thread and rethread these bottom loopers until I would finally get it working, and this would sometimes take me over an hour for just changing the thread. So over the summer, I visited Martin's Bernina Sewing Center in Newville, Pennsylvania, and they showed me the newer Bernina sergers with the easier threading. If you are in or near Shippensburg in central Pennsylvania, Martin's is a wonderful full-service shop, and they sell all types of Bernina sewing machines. Martin's is owned by a Mennonite family, and they are very friendly and give great service. I have had several of my machines cleaned by them, and they are very knowledgeable. I highly recommend them. With this new machine, we haven't had any problems with the threading, and my daughter can actually rethread the machine herself, and I don't have to spend an hour trying to get the thread changed each time the sewing machine thread needs to be changed. I'll be doing several videos over time with this machine to show you how to use the serger, how to thread it, and different things. In this video, I'll go over the features of the machine. What's included in the machine? I'll talk about needles, thread, the basic 4-thread overlock stitch, how to adjust the tension, micro thread control, stitch length and the cutting width, an overview of the differential feed. I will be making a series of videos to take you through all the features of this machine in detail, including how to thread it, different types of seams and stitches that are available, such as the overlock stitch, differential feed for stretchy, soft, and gathering fabrics, the presser foot tape guide, making rolled hems, flat lock seams, and how to do a wrapped edge with stretchy thread. I will also go over the multi-purpose foot and how it's used for piping, gathering, and beading, and the blind stitch foot, which is used to make blind hems, decorative tucks, and lace to lace. So first, I'd just like to show you how the sewing machine stitches. So this is a piece of corduroy that is scrap that we have, and if you notice, the machine just stitches, it cuts the seam and stitches. So this is the standard 4-thread serger seam that it will sew. It has 2 lines of stitching with 2 needles, and then the overlock that goes over the edge of the seam, and it finishes the seam so that it won't fray. So as your fabric is going through the machine is trimming the fabric, sewing 2 lines of stitches, and finishing the seam all at once. And it can sew very quickly. This is a great machine for sewing clothes because it will sew the seams together and finish them all in one pass. If you look inside, like my shirt here, you'll see that there is an overlock stitch, and that is similar to what we're stitching on this machine. So to show you some parts of the machine, back here there are 4 thread holders, and on each thread holder right now a cone holder. If you don't have cones, there are spool caps that are included with the machine. The machine also includes some thread nets, which can be put over the threads to help them feed better. And it has this retractable thread guide, which will retract down, so when you need to put it in storage or transport it, this can go down. I will make a video on exactly how to thread this machine in a later video. So the cutoff bin is where the fabric gets caught as you're sewing, and you can remove that from the machine, and we can open up the main part of the machine, and this allows you to access where you're threading the lower loopers. It also has a bunch of tools down here that are handily kept in little spots. You can also open this side of the machine to access stuff over here. And this knob here will deactivate the knife so that when you're doing types of stitches where you don't want to trim the fabric, then you can turn off, move the knife out of the way so it won't cut your fabric. There is also a thread guide that can be installed on the machine here, and this cover holds it in place, and this can be moved because it has millimeters and inches on here, so you can use this for measuring your seams. Lastly, on the side here there is a thread cutter. So the machine comes with an instruction manual. It comes with a plastic cover. As you saw, it comes with the machine cutoff bin and a foot pedal. The accessories that come with the machine inside the looper cover are some extra needles, a hex screwdriver, a brush, tweezers that are helpful for when you're threading the machine, and a needle threader and inserter tool. The little accessories box that comes with the machine includes oiler, a spare knife, a wrench, the seam guide, 4 spool nets, the thread caps, and a screwdriver. The needles that you use for a serger are standard sewing machine needles. For the serger, you want to stick with 7011, 8012, or 9014 sized needles. Sometimes you may want to use a stretch needle if you're sewing certain types of fabrics. So I also want to point out that the needles on a serger are not at the same height. The right side one is a little lower than the left side one, and this is on purpose. And if they're even, then that would tell you that your machine is not, the needles are not in your machine properly. Above the needles is a little window that will show you if your needles are installed correctly. If I put this on here, and this is what the hex screwdriver is used for, I can loosen the needle and it will drop out, and then I see it disappear from the window here. When I push it up, I can push it up all the way and I can see that it's connecting with the top, and that tells me that my needle is all the way inserted properly, and I can tighten the screw. This little needle inserter tool is very helpful. So the needle inserter is on this side, and you just put it over the needle to help you get it inserted properly. Two things over here on the serger is right here in this window. This is telling you when your needles are at the top position. So when the red line lines up with the black line on the window, that means that your needles are in their upper position. And there is a convenient little thing here that you can store extra needles in case you need to switch out your needles and you want to keep the old ones for use later. A little about Overlocker threads. Thread is made special for overlockers or sergers. Usually the threads are polyester and lighter weight than many other sewing machine threads. This helps the seams to be less bulky with the overlocking stitches. In your serger, you should use good quality threads such as Maxi-Lock or Ceracore. These are not fuzzy and won't cause excessive lint to build up in the lower part of your overlocker. There are specialty threads you can use for your overlocker, like this one is a Maxi-Lock Stretch. This thread is stretchy and provides good coverage for rolled edges and knit seams. There's also polyester top stitching thread, which is good for decorative stitching like flat lock seams and overcast edges. About the tension, these are the 4 tension knobs, and your threads go through those first. You can adjust the tension by moving the dial back and forth. The little dot on each of the dials is the default setting. You would always want to go back to that number if you're having a problem and then start adjusting from there. I may do a video on adjusting the tension in the future, but if you're having problems with your tension, the quick guide that comes with the machine has information on adjusting the thread tension and how to fix different issues with your stitches. There is also an adjusting the tension section in your book, which also is very helpful if you're having tension issues. I will add a link to the manual for this machine on the page for this tutorial. So look in the description section of this video for a link to go to our website, needlepointers.com, and on that page I'll have a link to the book for this serger, which is available online. So when you're going to adjust your tension, examine your sample stitching and compare it to the guides to determine which adjustments would need to be made. This machine has a micro thread control. It allows you to fine-tune the width of the overedge stitches to get them just perfect. When you change between different types of material, you may find that you just need to do a slight adjustment using this micro thread control to get the stitches perfect. On the side are your stitch length and your differential feed dials. A standard stitch length is 2.5 and indicated by the dot. You will want to adjust the length when using different types of stitches. For example, you would use 1 to 1.5 millimeters for rolled hems and decorative edges. You will use 2 to 2.5 millimeter for normal seams, and 3 to 4 millimeter for gathering or applying elastic. The differential feed is used for stretchy fabrics and keeps the seams from being wavy after they're sewn. For soft, lightweight fabrics, serging can cause puckering, and the differential feed can also eliminate this. The differential feed can also be used to gather fabrics. I will have a future video explaining the differential feed settings. Wide seams should be used on loosely woven fabric and smaller seams on dense fabric. This machine allows you to adjust the cutting width between 3 and 9 millimeters using this dial on the front of the serger. Right here is a cutting width indicator that shows you how far the cut will be from the left side needle. The right side needle is 2 millimeters shorter than the left. If you want to increase the width, you turn the dial up and that moves the cutter out. Turn the dial down to decrease the width. The standard width is indicated by the dot on the indicator, and it's at 6 millimeters. If you have a Bernina L460 Serger, some additional features that you have on your serger will be an automatic needle stop up, which would mean that the needle could be set to always stop in the up position. Your foot pedal will have a needle up and down control. A safety switch will be activated when your cover is open or your presser foot is raised. And you also have a freehand system with a knee lifter. I hope you enjoyed learning the basics of the Bernina L450 and L460 sergers. Like and share our videos, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss future videos. Help us spread our videos by sharing them with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Visit our website, needlepointers.com, for lots of other quilting tutorials and free projects. While you're there, sign up for our free weekly newsletter so you won't miss new tutorials. Happy serging!